Okay, I'm back after doing some research, and in particular into this SSL handler error that we saw before. Well, it turns out that Scala J HTTP, which we're using in our code, pulls in a couple of extra dependency jars. And I've gone back up in my terminal here to show you that when we ran SBT assembly, these were the jars that were included in that fat jar, as they say, that we're trying to deploy. So we see the WebSocket client here, slif4j, and then Scala J HTTP pulls in a sync HTTP client and netty. Well, what I found out is that Spark is built on Akka, which many of you probably already know, and Akka uses netty for remote procedure call communication between actors. And that's an entirely different topic. But the point is that it uses an older version of netty, which is not compatible with the code that we need when we're connecting to our Slack API over HTTPS. So we need a way to specify somehow in our deploy that we would like to use this version of netty, this version of netty over the older version of netty that's included with Spark. Well, I did some research and I came upon an interesting configuration variable, and that variable is this user class path first variable. Now, I've included a link to the Spark, this page, and in particular the configuration options that we have. And we're going to try deploying with setting this config variable to true. And this should give our jars precedence over the same jars that are contained within the Spark distribution. So let's go back to our terminal and find out what happens when we run that. Okay, I've already pulled it up in history, and now I've added this conf variable, and we're going to set it to true. So let's try running this and see what happens now. Because what we're trying to say is that we would like to use, again, we'd like to use our jar instead of Spark's version. Oh, we see an error right away. So I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'm going to go up and see what error we have now. Okay, we've got a new one now, and I'll highlight it here. Linkage error. Instance of, okay, I'm just reading out loud. This slif4j, as they say, or SLF4j logger. I think I remember that our SBT assembly is actually pulling that in. So I'm going to take a break here and do some research to figure out how to address this now new error.